Jeff, ready?
Oh, so
Yep,
awkward.
I'm ready.
Nick,
Yeah.
ready?
Yes, I am.
Freshly picked and ready for consumption. Here comes another round of the Radishcast.
All right, another Radishcast coming in for you. I'm your fearless commissioner and lord of all that is real life, Mike Fisher. Along with me, just like every time, are my co-hosts Nick Spill Stoll and Jeff. Why can't you guys think of a nickname for me, Gregory? Let's turn some rumors into facts.
What up, though?
So yeah, that's how you guys doing today?
Oh, just living. Talk some shit about some trades today.
Living. Okay, that's good. Good start. Jeff, any major news? Anything coming up?
Other than deer season next week.
Big time.
Yep, I'm excited for that. That's pretty much all that's been on my mind the last couple of days, and work is definitely showing that. So
That is big time. So for the Husky Leaguers that don't know, I just got a new job in Milwaukee. So I just had a realtor in my house about 10 minutes ago looking through everything. So I had to peel all of my Radishcast recording stuff out of storage just to do this show. But it's worth it for the crew. But yeah, it's gonna be a hectic couple weeks here. I start my new job at the end of the month, so we will. It's gonna be a process getting to there. But
you'll still shine, Mike. You know that.
Yeah,
always.
what a stud.
Always. I'm going for trying to avoid the number one thing I'm trying to avoid. There's this person on Reddit that if you send them a picture of your commissioner of your fantasy football league, they will send it back to you photoshopped like that one Roger Goodell thing with the red nose on it. As long as I can avoid that happening to me, then I'm doing okay. So.
Well, now that you say that, you know it's going to happen.
But see, if you do it to me when I'm doing a great job, then I know that you guys are just full of shit. You got to wait till I do a shitty job, which will happen.
Will that happen?
It
What?
will, eventually. But
We all know that.
all right. Let's just talk briefly about this last week. A busy week in the league, a busy week of trades, especially. That's really the hot topic of today's show. We got a couple trades that just happened, and this is Dynasty, so we all have opinions about trades, but really we won't know how a trade worked out, if somebody won it, if somebody lost it, for a year or two, because people's future is so much determinant of how those trades work out. So first one we're going to touch on was between myself and Mr. Kamo. He got Thielen from me. I got his first round pick and Tony Pollard. Nick, thoughts on that one real quick?
I don't love it. I mean, it just shows the start of the Mike tanking season. You made some suspect trades, Mike. Thielen kind of in his prime. I know he has some bum games lately, but I think you're not really getting much in Pollard. I guess a security blanket for Zeke, and then Kyle's first pick I think is going to be pretty late. So yeah. We'll see if he can turn that first pick into a starter.
It's the first time I've ever heard a 30-year-old receiver called in his prime.
Wait, I mean, he was good 2 years ago. That's when he started being good.
Jeff, you had
I
something
don't
to
know.
say?
The big thing on this one is Mike he's got Tony Pollard back in return, so he kind of handcuffs Zeke. So he's sitting good for that Dallas backfield. Whether that's a good thing or not, we'll see when it comes. But that's the big thing on that, I guess.
So Jeff, we'll jump to you for the other side of the Mike trade drama. We got me and Kyle going at it again, giving up Lockett in my 5th round pick, getting a second, Jordan's second, so probably the first pick in the 2nd round, as well as a 4th and Mike Evans. Where are you seeing me on that one?
Yeah, I think this trade is basically between two players that are boom or bust with Lockett and Evans. Those are the big takeaways. For me, it's kind of a wash, in my opinion. Getting that Jordan's second round, Mike, you probably win this trade. If you can turn that into a starter, just like Nick talked about. Kyle's going to have a late round, first round. If you can turn Jordan's second round into a starter, I think you win this one. It's just, we'll have to see.
Yeah, and getting a year younger, Evans is actually a year younger than Lockett. Doesn't really feel like that, but
and plus DK is gonna take that over pretty soon. I have a feeling it's gonna be less boom games and more bust games for Lockett in the future. So I like this trade too, Mike.
Yeah, and honestly, I like Lockett, but for the opportunity to get that high draft pick and, like I said, get a year younger and a receiver that is equally talented, been a 1,000-yard receiver every year in Evans. He's probably going to have a down year this year with AB in town, but I think next year he could potentially return to his former glory. So going on to our third one.
Who reached out to who on both of these?
So the Thielen one, I reached out to KMO, and the Lockett one, he actually reached out, sent to me after he failed to get Allen Robinson, which brings us to our next one. So Troy and Joe agreeing to what was the most monster trade of the league until maybe today, when a new monster trade that we will get to eventually. So Troy and Joe, Troy got Mixon, Robinson, and Darrington Evans. Joe got Troy's entire draft and Ronald Jones, DJ Moore, Kerryon Johnson. Just a lot going on there. I mean, like I said, Joe has his future out of this. Troy got some win now players. This was the first quadruple counter of the league. This was originally between Joe and Kyle, and then it was between Troy and Joe, and then it was between me and Troy, not even the two original people who made the trade, which was nuts. And then Joe swooped back in the 11th hour. So honestly, I think it makes sense for both parties. Joe wasn't going to win a championship this year, and I think he noticed that. And so he was trying to make a move to get some of those picks out of Allen Robinson being in his prime at 28 years old or so. So he's trying to just get some return back before the decline starts. And honestly, getting DJ Moore back too is enormous.
Mm-hmm.
He's having a down year, but I think that's a short-term problem. He's 24 years old. He's gonna pick it back up. You have to think so. I'm curious to see how it works out. Especially because I think a lot of us being new dynasty players, I don't know that we all know how to value drafts yet. And so,
right.
It's really, 2-3 years from now, you wonder if a trade like this happens once people see how much your pick is really worth and how it's played out over the years. So,
no, that's a huge point to touch on. There's, Troy has no draft picks now. So 2-3 years down the line, if he doesn't win in that time frame, is this trade going to be worth it? That's something we'll have to wait and see. So
I do like Joe Mixon on that one though.
Yeah,
for Troy,
he's a young player, just signed an extension.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's tough for Joe to give that up. So
yeah,
we'll see how it works out.
So one more real big one that we're going to talk about, and then a couple of small ones to just briefly touch on. So Nick, talk to us a little bit about the John and Jeff trade. John getting a 1-3-3, Jeff getting Calvin Ridley in the first from John. Quickly, what do you see in there?
So this is your first round, Jeff, right? It's not anyone else's.
That's
yeah.
right.
So with the monster trade that John just went in with Hopkins and Chubb, I think he's gonna decline for the rest of the season as well. So who knows? Those first round swap, Jeff might finish better. So
yeah,
if that happens,
I think this was a bad trade for John, if I'm being totally honest, especially since he's going into this tank. It seems like he's really trying to outduel me for who can be the worst right now. I really don't see a situation where John isn't the third, maybe even the second pick. So he really just gave up Calvin Ridley to move up one spot at best in the draft. That's a bad trade, if I'm being honest, Jeff. You kind of hosed him on that one.
The big thing for me too is Ridley with Matt Ryan. I don't know how long I'll have Matt Ryan or even start him, but to stack those two guys, I was feeling pretty good. And to note, Mike, I like the trade I had with you, but when John and I started working on this, we waited basically till I think 2 minutes before the trade deadline to announce it. And, I'm sitting right here pretty excited about this trade.
Yeah, you're lucky that text didn't come in to me 1 minute later, because I would not have allowed it. I would have taken my trade and ran. Fuck you guys.
Collusion.
So these last two, like I said, pretty low scale, inconsequential. Jeff, maybe 1 or 2 points on this one. Troy getting Kyle Allen and Logan Thomas. Me getting Jared Stidham and Josh Reynolds from the Rams.
Yeah, Troy's just trying to find a feasible backup behind Patty Mahomes and really trying to find another tight end behind Hooper. So, Mike, you're going all out for every Patriot player that you can possibly find. So that's part of the trade that I noticed on that, and that's all I'm really going to comment on this one.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Kyle Allen decided to shatter his ankle that very week. So, but Troy did pick up Alex Smith, so he's got a player in place of Patty Mahomes this week. So the last one I'm just going to touch on, Jeff and Ben, Jordan Wilkins for David Moore. It made more sense when Jeff was looking like he was going to get Jonathan Taylor. Now it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's just kind of there, nothing really to note here unless Jordan Wilkins, takes over that backfield. I don't see it happening since he was already there, and then they still brought Taylor in on top. And so I don't think there's a lot to see there, but maybe something will unfold over the next year or two. So,
Mike, he's still available if you want to work something out here.
I will probably send you an offer, but he does play tonight, so that's one we'll have to get in place and maybe can go through right before the trade deadline on Monday. So just so everybody knows, trade deadline is Monday of this week. Trades have to be accepted before the deadline. Even though there's games going on, they won't process until after, but they need to be accepted and in my inbox before that trade deadline Monday. So we briefly touched on it. We're not going to talk about it much here because it just happened. Us Radishcast hosts still have to digest it, but John sending Nick Chubb and DeAndre Hopkins, Kyle sending the presumed number 1 pick, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire over to John. Obviously a big trade. Makes sense for both guys. Kyle's getting the established players, John's getting the future players. I don't know that we need to dive too much into that. Maybe we can hop into our next segment, which is still trade related.
Buyer's remorse.
The worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, but certainly ever signed in this country.
So I do want to point out to all of our guests that Jeff and Nick don't get the luxury of getting to hear these drops or know a lot of these things ahead of time. So they're hearing them live the same time you guys are. Those reactions are real. That was my favorite drop I've ever made in my life. I'm gonna play it again just because I think it's fucking hilarious.
Buyer's remorse.
The worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, but certainly ever signed in this country.
So buyer's remorse. We're trying to get after the worst trade deal ever signed, ever, maybe ever, definitely in this country. So we're just gonna touch back on some of the trades that happened early in the year. We got several weeks of the season to see how they worked out, and just same thing. Take a quick look at these trades and see did we like them? Did we not like them? Who do we like on it? So Jeff, I'll toss the first one over to you. It's the trade before anything even happened. The trade before week 1 of me sending Eckler and Dan Arnold over to Tony, and Tony sending me Jonathan Taylor and Marvin Jones.
Yeah, I think Tony made a mistake on this one. Just seeing right now, I think he panicked a little bit before the season started with 2 rookie running backs that were really established. But, as we're going into this week right now, I think he'd be way better off if he had kept Jonathan Taylor. So, Mike, you set yourself up good for the future. Tony, you got Eckler. When he's healthy, is a great play, but he hasn't played much this year. So,
Yep. I don't know if there's much else to say on that. In the interest of time, we'll jump on to the next one. So, I'll give you a little rundown. So, Cooley got Darius Slayton and Corey Davis. Tony got Justin Jefferson and Raheem Mostert. This was 1 week before Saquon Barkley tore his ACL, in which Cooley would have really, I'm sure preferred to have, Mostert as that backup running back. So that definitely hurt Cooley's end. And honestly, Mostert's been hurt too, but down the stretch here, I'm sure he'll come back over the end of the year. And Cooley might be approaching the season a little differently if he had a strong running back too, versus the position he's in right now. So, other than that, Justin Jefferson's a baller. He's put up huge games. He's had a couple not so great games, but he's a rookie. So, you love to see that so far. Corey Davis, rose from the grave.
I don't get it.
He was the number 1 rated receiver when he came out 4 years ago. He was supposed to be the next big thing. Was nothing, and apparently Cooley knew that this was coming and traded away some good players for him. If it wasn't for that late resurgence, this would be a total lopsided trade. So still kind of working out for both players. Darius Slayton's a fine young guy. He's a boomer bust. He'll have his big games. So it kind of worked out for everybody, it seems. I think, knowing Barkley was going to tear his ACL, Cooley wouldn't do this trade again, though. So Nick, we'll throw you maybe a little bit smaller one. Smaller in the sense that it's a little easier to digest. Ben getting Stephon Diggs, Kyle Monroe getting Julio Jones. Pretty easy, receiver for receiver. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I think really it's a respectable trade. I mean, when you look at it, the names, you're thinking Julio, stud. I don't know why you'd give him up for Diggs. But Diggs' floor a little bit higher. Julio's a little hit or miss. Julio has those bigger games. So it just depends what you're looking for. I think it's a pretty even trade. I think I'd rather have Julio, but I can see where Ben was coming from.
Yeah, and you always got to jump back to age too, right? Julio's 32.
Right, yeah.
He's
30,
late in his
31,
career,
32.
So.
Although
Yeah,
Diggs
Ridley
is,
should take that over.
Diggs is the number 1 in that offense. And, when this trade went down, I think the first few weeks after, Diggs just exploded and went off. So, overall, it was a good trade, I think, for both guys.
Yeah, I think it makes sense all around.
I like it.
Jeff, we'll throw you the next one. So this is between myself and Benny. I am apparently the most active trader in this league. So Benny getting Kareem Hunt and Russell Gage, me getting Thielen, who I now no longer have, and Gus Edwards along with Benny's second-round pick.
Yeah, so far, Ben, he's saw a pretty good return with Hunt. I think that's the big thing to note. Mike, kind of a sleeper guy, is Gus Edwards. Even if he's not at the Ravens, he might be a stud elsewhere. So it'll be interesting to see how Gage and Gus progress as they get older and older. And, like you mentioned, you'd already moved on from Thielen. So this trade overall, I think I like where Ben's sitting more with it, to be honest, with Hunt.
Okay. Even with Chubb
Why
coming
does
back?
Gus get
It seems like he does just as good with him than not in. So
Seems like it gets better.
yeah,
I don't know what Gus's deal is. I don't know why they keep giving him the ball, but he gets his share, even with all those running backs there.
Yep. So jumping into the next one, Nick, take a look at a trade Jeff made here. Jeff and John doing a deal earlier in the season too. Jeff getting Mike Williams in a third, John getting a second-round pick from Jeff. Where are you seeing this?
I think Jeff is a winner here. I definitely want anyone in that offense right now, the Chargers offense, with Herb Daddy over there. So I think that's a good pick. It seems like Mike Williams is getting some red zone targets too. So I think he'd be good going forward and continue to be good. So I think Jeff definitely won this trade.
Yeah, I'd say so too. The one question mark I have is I believe that Mike Williams is on his player option this year. So it's curious to see if they re-sign him or if he moves on somewhere and what he could be in another offense, better or worse, who knows. So
he's a big body. He's kind of younger too. So I just wanted depth and a possible starter most weeks. So I'm feeling pretty good about this trade.
Yeah. I'll jump into the last one we got for today. This is going to be part one of this segment. I'm sure we'll jump into the trades that have happened since this one in a later segment, but later on in the year. But the last one is Tony giving up Russell Wilson to Nick here, and Tony getting back a first-round pick and Chris Carson. Honestly, we're going to talk about it, but really this is a wait-and-see trade too. Chris Carson, if he re-signs with the Seattle Seahawks, then I'd say Tony got a steal here. But there's just a lot of uncertainty with Carson's future. He's on the last year of his deal right now. He might not be there. He might be somewhere else where he's second fiddle. He might be nowhere. So we just don't know that. So that's really the unknown. And obviously who that first pick turns out to be. This could be a monster trade for Nick, having Wilson locked up for years and years. This could be a monster trade for Tony if all of a sudden Carson re-signs 3 more years on his deal and he gets a solid player out of that first pick. So, like I said, we're touching on it, but it really is a wait and see.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if Penny takes a little bit of carries too when he's healthy, because I know he
hope
did
so.
previously. So shut up, Jeff.
Sitting on my bench, just waiting for the opportunity, coach. Put him in.
I think Penny's 3 years in, and he's been healthy for
Hurt
probably
most
about a
of it.
quarter of the games. So
That is true.
but
Carson's been hurt too, so
Yeah.
all right, you guys ready to jump into the next one?
yes.
This here's the Radish Recap.
So the Radish recap, we'll take a look at some of last week's games. So our picks from last week, Nick and I both sat at 4-2, and Jeff took home the perfect 6-0 on his picks of last week's game. So winning records for all the hosts, but Jeff by far, taking home the gold here, picking himself over Jordan, picking Stank over Troy, some big ones. But we'll jump right into it. So game number 1, we got Old Man Joe versus the Taint Ticklers. Coach Nick Stoll was a 10-point favorite in this one. He barely squeaked it out, taking the 96-95 victory. All of us picked this one correctly. This did not come without a little bit of garbage time help from Nick here. So, Jeff, how are you seeing this game? And should Nick actually be happy about this, or should he be praying to the fantasy gods that this worked out?
I think he's happy only because he won. I mean, clearly he got lucky. DJ Chark performed well. David Johnson going off early didn't help by any means, but you look over at Joe's team and he didn't really have anyone perform well other than Keenan Allen. So
yeah, I think
good win, then. Nick, a win's a win.
I think Joe learned.
I'll take it.
Joe learned that draft picks do not score points. So having Troy's entire draft did not help him in this one.
I think it was a tough lesson Joe had to learn, but I think he's got it moving forward.
Nick, anything else? I know David Johnson went out early in this one, hurting your running back core a little bit. You might miss this week with a concussion. What are your thoughts on this one and maybe moving forward?
Yeah, so David Johnson going out real early he was concussed. I got Duke Johnson on my bench, so
that should be okay.
He might be a play. He should be a play next week. Tim Brady sucked, so and he is.
I was not ready. That's my bad. He is
Nick's bum of the week.
Spare any change, sir? No, off!
Tim Brady only scoring 2.3 points. He looked pitiful. I don't understand how he can look so good one week and then the next week look like this, super inconsistent. It's just brutal. I'm confused. The Saints defense isn't even that good. It really hurt Godwin's performance is what I was leading to too.
Yeah, and so to defend myself, there's a reason I wasn't prepared, because this wasn't supposed to come up till the next matchup where Tom Brady actually played.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was
so
like,
this is totally
jumped the gun a little bit
that I wasn't ready for that.
That's a my bad, I guess.
We're still ironing it out. This is only week 2, guys.
Yeah.
So we'll get her
someday.
So
Plus,
yeah,
I only have my one screen going. I'd have 2 screens usually when I wasn't moving, but since I'm mid move, I'm working on one screen today. So cut me some slack.
Yeah, so that's why Godwin struggled too. I think next week I'll be okay. We'll see here. I got some injuries still. I don't think Galladay is going to come back, but we'll see.
All right, so we'll hop into the next one. We got Ball is Life and John Lamers taking a hefty defeat to I Am Left-Handed. Coach Monroe taking a 134-79 victory. He was a 30-point favorite. He decided that wasn't enough. He went for 60. John, I don't know what you're doing, but Jeff got anything to talk about here?
Yeah, I mean, when you start a fullback as your running back too, you're hoping for a maximum of maybe 6 points, 6.1, maybe a 1-yard rush and a touchdown. So, I don't know what John was really thinking there. And then, as Nick mentioned, Tom Brady just absolutely garbage. So good luck, John. I hope you continue to suck, because I got that number 1 pick from you. So
yeah. Does this what does this say about John?
This, what this says.
That was Jeff's worst coach of the week. Jeff's worst coach of the week.
I wanted to make sure you heard the fart, so.
Yeah, this week, John takes the worst coach pretty easily. I mean, he gets destroyed by KMO, starts that fullback in his lineup, has guys go off on his bench that, I mean, granted, he probably don't play most of those guys anyways, but 79 points and just an absolute ass kicking. So hopefully John's on this list more and more. I'd like to see that. That's for sure.
Nick, anything else to talk about your bum of the week and the rest of this game?
Nothing more about the bum of the week. He, like I said, he's going to be called Tim until he freaking performs, and then I'll call him Tom. But Hopkins only 4.5 points. That sucks because Kyler Murray on the other team didn't get any benefit. He scored 37. He just rushed so much. He had over 100 yards rushing, and a rushing touchdown. So that'll hurt. I don't think that'll happen every week. But John, this is pitiful.
Yeah, this was a dog shit game, and we are going to move on because of that. So we'll jump to the next one. Southwestern Bandicoots against the SCLSU Mud Dogs. So Stankowski was an 8-point favorite, and it turns out that line was perfect, taking the 8-point victory, 114-106. I picked Troy to win this one. I was really counting on him, and really it all came down to what I said. You can't bet against Patrick Mahomes and Derrick Henry, and apparently you can bet against Derrick Henry because he didn't come through. So Troy's trades didn't really work out for him this week. Jeff, any other news from Troy or Stank's side?
I'd like to just mention that I think I called that Devontae Adams was going to go off on Thursday night, even though Nick decided to vote against that, which clearly was the wrong move. So that played a huge part in this. I mean, he got 28.3 points, and Derrick Henry surprisingly didn't perform. So that's the path that Stank won, was basically he got Adams went off, Henry didn't go off, and then everyone else was kind of, what you would expect. Maybe not Christian Kirk getting 20.8 points, but good win for Stank. I mean, head-to-head matchup, any win. I think both these guys are going to be in there close to the end and probably in the playoffs. So this will have seeding implications potentially.
For sure. Nick, any last parting thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'll just agree with both of you guys there. That was the difference. I called Devontae Thursday night game, short week. I didn't think he was going to have as big of a game. I was definitely wrong. He scored 28. And then Derrick Henry not doing anything. My garbage time all-star didn't even pan out. He had a decent game, but it wasn't garbage time. It was pretty close, surprisingly. So it's two bad calls, on my opinion, for me on this game.
That's all right. Like we said, we're getting warmed up to this. So
I don't really expect much to change, though, Mike, with Nick's calls. So
yeah, dude, relax over there.
Moving on to our next one, Coach Alex Cooley and Grizzly Adams versus the Aaron Rodgers football team. Cooley was a 3-point favorite in this one, and Tony happened to squeeze out a 7-point win, 108-101. Nick, what are you seeing on this one?
Allen really carried his team here. We said that Tony was going to come back here and have a win. He barely pulled it off. I thought it was going to be a little more hefty of a win. Also, Corey Davis having a 0 bomb. He crawled back into his grave. So we'll see how he does going forward.
Jeff, any other points on this one?
Cooley tried to make it interesting. It's a pretty close game when you lose by 7. You'd look back and see what you could have done differently. I don't think Cooley could have done much. He rolled Corey Davis, as Nick mentioned, and clearly that was the wrong play. But Travis Kelce got over 20 points, so he did stay just cooking. That was nice to see for Cooley and in his matchup. So yeah, right. Just a little pat on the back there too.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, I mean, really, like you guys mentioned Davis, but also Slayton, the other player. He got both those guys from Tony. Slayton had 1.3, Davis had 0. So clearly Tony had this one keyed up early in the year as to how to beat Cooley. But Mike Davis is probably going to be back after this week. We're saying we don't know what Cooley's going to do, but now with CMC hurt again, Mike Davis' season is back on. So jump onto the next one.
I wonder if Cooley wants that to happen, or if he wants to lose games for a better draft pick.
I don't know. He sure was talking a lot of shit about the people making trades, trying to look towards the future. So I don't know that he quite understands how dynasties work in that sense yet. But
after his first trade earlier in the year, I don't blame him for being a little gun shy.
we'll take a look at the next one. So this one was a hefty whooping for me. The Exalted Archduke taking a loss to Benny and the Jets, 136-94. I will say for myself, I'll hand it over to you guys to take over the majority of this, but I would have done worse in this game had I not made those trades, because I would have never started Jacoby Meyer. I would have started Lockett 6 points or Thielen's 4 points. So I actually did better despite my trading away of my high-profile players. So, Jeff, anything to say on that?
The tank season is upon us for you, Mike. I think those trades show that. Myers is a bright spot. He did perform very well. I don't think you can expect that every week or that performance going forward, but who knows? And then really Dalvin Cook for Benny. Pretty much.
Yeah, I wasn't winning this game at any point with Dalvin Cook playing like he's playing. Nick, anything else to talk about?
Even though I picked Ben to win this game, but Amendola I thought was a sketchy start. He ended up going off for him with 11 points. I was not expecting that. So
yeah.
Ben's got it together, even down on his flex. So
he's rolling. So the last game and talk here, saved it for last specifically because it was our game of the week. Jay's Juggernauts and Coach Gregory on the screen with us today, taking on Lick, McCaff, and Madak. Jeff taking the win here, 125-116. Like we've talked about John a couple times, Jeff might be crawling his way out of that toilet bowl conversation. And, Gronk and Tanya, Nick, you brought it up last week, starting 2 tight ends did not pan out for him. What else you seeing that led to this, Nick?
Well, I mean, I picked Jordo because of McCaffrey. He made it close for a second there. But, yeah, I should have rode the train to hell with you two and picked Jeff to win this game. It just sucks. I'm disappointed losing the game of the week like that. But, yeah, Jeff having his brother-in-law go off for him, too, will help. A little insight.
Having the aptly named Terry McLaurin.
Yep.
That's why I think that's why Jeff took the last name.
Oh, absolutely.
That makes sense, yeah.
Jeff, what do you defending your win here? You jumping on your pedestal after this one?
I was not feeling very good about this one going in, especially with Matt McCaffrey coming back this week and Aaron Jones. When I did find out he was playing, I mean, he looked like he was going to score about 50. Jones, that is, after that first drive that he had. And I was pretty early on kind of shaking my head, but, the team stayed true to their coach and their guns and pulled off a big victory. And, hopefully that's enough to propel us from not being the worst team in the league. And I think Jordan should, as he mentioned, has already started his script for this year and next year's talk for being the worst team. So we'll see how that plays out.
And honestly, Jeff, the third highest scoring team on the week, just a consistent performance, really. Samuel had 20 plus, McLaurin, Matt Ryan, all 20 and above, and then just a consistent scores across the other guys, a lot of 10-point performances, and just enough to keep you afloat and keep you going. So I thought that was a good game for you. So
Jeff, I gotta mention, I talked all that shit about Tua, and then you pulled him and started Ryan. They both had a good game, so I kind of am eating my words a little bit, but the no balls, Jeffrey.
No balls.
You'll see him this week.
With Ryan on bye. All right. Well, with that, we'll hop into a little segue segment before we get into next week's matchups.
Ask me the questions, Bridgekeeper. I'm not afraid.
This here's Mike's. Will it happen?
All right, Mike.
Let's hear it.
I got a question for you. Will we see a baby Mike and Liv Fisher before the Archduke wins a Husky League championship?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh,
Answer correctly.
It will not
keeping
happen.
track. Ooh.
That was Mike's. Will it happen?
All right, hopping into the next one. We're gonna take a look at the week ahead and then what we got to look forward to.
Dive on into the Husky League matchups.
All right, taking a look at this week's matchups. We're going to start with my own. We got the Exalted Archduke taking on I Am Left-Handed and Coach Kyle Monroe. We originally had this with Monroe as a 7-point favorite, but I'm actually going to just dive right back in right now because I'm sure with the new trade that just went through that line has moved. So as I pull up that number, why don't one of you start taking this one on? Nick, how about let's start with you?
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be very close at all with that trade coming through. I mean, Kyle's losing Clyde. It is their bye week, Kansas City, that is. But Hopkins being in there, I know he only had a 4-point game last week, but that won't continue. Yeah, I think Monroe's going to have this handily. We'll see. Is Chubb coming back from IR this week?
It sounds that way, yes. So the line has moved to 17 points. The line is now a 17-point favorite for Monroe.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how much they utilize Chubb, though. So Kyle rolling him in his starting lineup without really knowing if he's going to be in there a lot is interesting. But I got to agree with you, Nick. I think Kyle wins this one, and I don't really think it's very close. I think Murray is rolling. Mike, you got young guys with Higgins, Dobbins, and Taylor. So your future looks good, and even Locke in your quarterback position, but it's just not going to be your week, man.
Yeah, and honestly, when I'm looking at this, I think I'm going to do better than the experts give me credit for. I'm not going to pick myself to win this. I'm going to take Monroe here.
No confidence.
For the sake of my own Husky League matchup record. But like I said, I think I'm going to do a little bit better than people think. I think Drew Lock's a sneaky start this week. He's had 2 really good games, and the Vegas defense is bad. I think Robert Woods and T. Higgins having those 2 back is going to be really big for my team over last week. But I can't, in all good faith, pick myself in this game. So we'll take a ride on to the next one. We got the Aaron Rodgers football team and Coach Tony Fisher taking on the Southwestern Bandicoots. This should be a good game, but Stank is actually favored by 14 points here. Jeff, where are we seeing in this one?
I think Stank pulls it off again. I think it's going to be a close one, just like last week. This one was very difficult when looking at both teams. I like both lineups, to be honest with you. Devontae Adams and Deshaun Watson are probably the 2 main guys at why I'm leaning towards Stank, and I think they're going to have good weeks. Tony with Thomas back, and I actually think Swift is going to have a good week, but I got to roll with Stank on this one again.
Yeah, and I lean Stank here, and really actually it comes down to James Robinson for me. Green Bay's rush defense is bad, and for an undrafted free agent, he has been lighting the league on fire so far. I think he's going to have a monster week that pushes him over the top, and I think everybody else on Stank's team is going to be able to just keep pace with the players that Tony has. I think Stank takes this one.
Could you imagine if Leonard Fournette would have just stayed a Jaguar?
Yeah,
Ooh,
I don't know that he would have been much better.
Pisses me off.
But Nick, who you taking in this one?
I'm taking Stank. I bet against him last week. I bet against Adams. I'm not doing it again this week. He's going to go off. Yeah, looking at the 2, it is close between the 2. Michael Thomas should have a bounce back week. I actually am going to disagree with you, Jeff. Washington's rush defense is pretty good, and for some reason the Lions are they'll run AP more for some stupid reason. So I like Stank in this matchup. I can't bet against Devontae twice in a row. So
sounds good. We'll jump into the next one, and this is another one. Was originally going to qualify for a segment for me, but That line, I'm sure, again, has changed. So we got Grizzly Adams and Coach Alex Cooley taking on Ball Is Life and Coach John Lamers. John Lamers was the 4-point favorite. I think that line is surely changed now that that we got the trade going through.
Be
never
surprised.
mind. John Lamers is the 5-point favorite somehow after that. So, because that line hasn't changed,
Mike's against the expert's pick.
Are you gonna listen to a big dummy, or are you gonna listen to me?
I'm taking Alex Cooley in this one, hands down. He's got Mike Davis back. I don't think this one's even close.
Even with his questionable tight end play right now?
James O'Shaughnessy, the backup tight end for a team that doesn't use the tight end, is a bold move, I gotta say. But even with that, I think that the tight end spot is one where you can have a dud and you can still pull out a win. I take Cooley in this one. Either you want to jump in on top and give your pick?
Yeah, I can go real quick. As much as I want John to lose to Cooley, I am going to pick John in this matchup. I think DK and Judy, Henderson, Moss, they're not, other than DK and Judy, they're not guys that perform every single week, but I just have a feeling he's going to bounce back, and Tom Brady's pissed off at his performance last week and could put up some pretty crazy numbers. So I got to go with John, even though I don't want to.
Nick, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with John as well here. I'm looking at Cooley's lineup. Yeah, he has Davis back. That's going to help him a little bit. Who knows if DJ Dallas is going to play. I think Hyde's coming back, isn't he? I don't even know if Carson might be playing too.
Probably.
I think he missed practice today, though, or at least limited. Henderson coming back for John is big. He practiced today. So, yeah, DK and Tom, like Jeff said, he's pissed off. So, I think John will have a better week. I think it's still going to be close, though, between these two shitty teams.
Agreed. So let's hop into the next one. We got Benny and the Jets playing hot right now, taking on Jay's Juggernauts, also playing relatively hot. But Ben is coming into this one as a 23-point favorite. Nick, what are you seeing here?
Yeah, Ben's just going to keep rolling. His team just looks too good. I was looking at it, and he is projected to beat Jeff at every position besides the tight end. And tight end is only a couple points there. So, I mean, you look at his team, and all around it looks great. Aaron Rodgers against Jacksonville's crappy defense. Cook is going to keep cooking. Even though he's going against Chicago, and we had Derrick Henry have a dud against him last week, I still think Cook is going to keep going off. I just don't see a way where Jeff wins this. Sorry, Jeffrey.
Jeff, you got any chance in this, you think?
No, not really. To be honest with you, I think, I got to play Tua this week. He looked good last week, so I'm not too upset about that, but my other quarterbacks are on bye or hurt. I'm rolling with Tua, I guess, this week. So going against Dalvin Cook, I don't know any person in their right mind that would want to go against him right now after the last couple of weeks. So
you're picking Benny, or you having some
I'm
faith?
going with Benny. I got to go with Benny.
All right. Well, with that, we'll jump on to the next one. Lick McCaff and Medak taking on the Taint Ticklers. The Ticklers are a 20-point favorite in this one. Jeff, I'll let you start on this one. What are you seeing from Coach Nick Stoll on the other side, and subsequently Jordan now again without McCaffrey?
I got to go with Nick. I mean, Russell Wilson, Godwin, Galladay might be back. DJ Chark, you talked about him earlier, so it's like, I don't know. Without McCaffrey on Jordan's squad, it looks pretty pitiful. So I got to go with the Taint Ticklers.
Nick, I understand there's a player from this game you maybe want to highlight.
Yeah, hit it, Michael.
Nick's garbage time all-star.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage.
Oh, that was a great one. So my garbage time all-star is going to be Chark this week. I think Green Bay is going to hand a big loss to Jacksonville here. I know their rush defense is pretty poor, but I think Chark's going to have a late, meaningless touchdown in this game. So I hope he goes off again. I don't know. Is Minshew playing this week? What's the deal with that? I haven't looked into it.
Minshew is not playing. They are rolling with Luton again. So Luton's getting another
I
start.
like that. Yeah, that makes me feel good here. So hopefully Chark can repeat his big performance last week. We'll see. I'm taking me, by the way, if that wasn't obvious.
Yeah, I kind of figured that one out.
Yeah, so it's the worst team in the league without McCaffrey. I hope I win. If I don't, that'll be very, very embarrassing. So we'll see if my players come back that are injured this week. So
I saw a report that McCaffrey might be trying to play this week. So, that could change a few things with Mike Davis and Cooley or Jordan in his lineup. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but we'll see.
Yeah, what I saw was that he was for sure going to be out this week, but would be back possibly right away for the next week. But unless that's changed, that might have changed. Today I haven't been on my phone much, so I would have missed it, a lot of that stuff today. We'll jump into our last matchup for now, and honestly, it's an interesting one to me. We got Old Man Joe taking on the SCLSU Mud Dogs, and I just checked the line on it. The line has actually changed since I originally wrote the show doc for this. Joe, the 19-point favorite over the team that traded him his entire draft. So that's tough, and I get it from Troy's side, right? He's got Patrick Mahomes on bye, so he's having to roll with Alex Smith is not something that anyone wants to do. Joe Mixon wasn't practicing this week, so he's not getting that benefit that he traded for. It's not a great situation to be in. But I struggle in this one. I'm going to take Joe. I'm going to take Joe to win this. I think he's going to cover. He's hitting his lineup at the right time here. Sanders getting healthy. I think Joe takes this one on. Nick, how about you?
Yeah, I'm taking Joe on this one too. With Patty Mahomes being out, that's tough for Troy. And Ayuk is back. Debo's not back this week, so Keenan Allen is going to go off again. I really wish I had him on my team. Joe, trade me Keenan Allen, please.
What's your sales pitch?
I got nothing. He's not. I already offered a crazy fucking trade. He just doesn't want to budge. So
I don't blame him.
But
talk to me about Robert Woods.
Maybe.
Jeff,
but yeah, I'm taking him.
Jeff, who are you taking in this one?
For the same reasons, this one was hard for me. This is probably my most difficult choice, but I'm going to roll with Joe as well. Mike, I think you mentioned his lineup looks pretty good and is hitting at the right time. So Troy could very easily blow this game out, though. That's what with his lineup is so dangerous. So it's hard. Troy's a hard person in his team to root against and bet against, but I think Old Man Joe pulls out the win.
So let me ask you guys this. Do you guys just call each other before the show and say, we just take favorites in every game? You guys have the exact same picks and pick the favorite in every single game. I just wanted to point that out.
Oh, I did notice I picked the favorites every single game, and I was going to go against it, but there's nothing I would really want to change.
Yeah,
Tank was only one.
This is a week of a lot of big favorites. I truly do like Cooley. I didn't just pick that for the sake of having the against the experts pick. I really do think Cooley, but that's the only dissenting pick. Other than that, we were totally aligned on every single one. So just lastly, real quick, Jeff, I know that there's maybe one player you want to touch on in the Old Man Joe game here.
Jeff's keep on cooking.
Who wants some man meat?
I do. I want some man meat.
I can tell you that Joe wants some man meat, and he wants Keenan Allen. He will be my just keep on cooking. He qualified for scoring 20 points last week, and he will do it again this week. So that'll be one step closer to your victory, Joe.
Sounds good. We'll jump into the last segment of the day, and then maybe some final thoughts, and then we'll close it up here.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
Shut up, baby. I know it. absolute guarantee.
So, getting into our guarantees of the week. Last week, all three of us hit on our guarantees. Jeff called CMC with 2 touchdowns. I called Cam Newton with a big game. Nick called the crazy Tony getting more than 75 points. That was unbelievable to me.
Dude, I hit.
We'll see if Nick throws something a little bit more bold out there this week.
Yeah, it'll be tough, man. It'll
Get
be
away,
tough.
Nick.
So we'll jump into the Shut Up Baby I Know It's of the week this week. I'll get us started here. Kyle Monroe is making all sorts of trades. He's beefing up his team all over the place. But I really think that the player that's kind of hanging steady and playing with this team, he made a couple trades early, but then he's been riding it out. I think Ben outscores Monroe this week. Different games, separate games, but I think that Monroe's trying to play catch up and Ben rolls. So I think Ben's gonna outscore Monroe.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Jeff, why don't you give me your Shut Up Baby I Know It guarantee?
Well, my guarantee this week is actually the Tony and Stank matchup, and I guarantee that the combined points for that matchup is going to be the most we see this week. So there's going to be a lot of points scored.
Big game, a lot of points. All right, sounds good. Nick, what do you got for us? I can't.
So my guarantee of the week is going to be AP out touches Swift in the Lions game here. It's stupid. I hate it, but it's going to happen.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Yeah, it seems like that's been. I don't know. I guess I don't know where the carries lie, but it
hasn't.
Pretty split lately. So
13 and like 7 last week, and the week before, same kind of outpaced. Swift was out touching them more. So
they're going to swing back.
I don't understand that. Yeah, I don't understand.
No one gets it.
Yeah,
it's just a Lion thing to do, I guess.
I know.
All right, so just quick recap. So all of us have Kyle Monroe winning. All of us have Stank winning. You two have John, and I have Cooley. All of us have Ben taking down Jeff. Nick with the easy win over Jordan. And all of us have Joe winning the team of Who Has Troy's Draft. So the game of Who Has Troy's Draft. So with that, that's my last notes. Anybody else got anything to finish us up with?
Other than Cooley's a bitch, that's all I got.
and it is true. I actually went and checked some peer-reviewed articles, and that is been scientifically proven. So, so with that, good luck to everyone out there, unless you're playing one of us, and we'll see you again next time.
Webster's Dictionary defines radish as a swollen, pungent-tasting edible root high in potassium, which can help lower blood pressure. Or more importantly, 3 guys spitting nonsense and talking about fantasy football. Add salt and pepper and chomp into another episode next time. See y'all later.